This training will cover Chapter 4, OMR Written Procedure. This video is presented by the Oregon Department of Education Child Nutrition Programs, also known as ODE-CMP. In this training, we will go over how to complete a written procedure for developing the OMR. We will touch on the purpose of having a procedure, guidelines to follow, and the template ODE-CMP created that can be used by sponsors. By the end of this training, you should understand how to create a written procedure for developing the OMR. The OMR procedure template can be found on the ODE-CMP CACFP webpage along with many other procedure templates. Sponsors will fill in information as applicable to their program. Remember, procedures are a guide for staff to follow to ensure programmatic requirements are met and ensuring compliance in the CACFP for your organization. Be as descriptive as possible, and more importantly, train staff on these procedures. The first step in the process is to determine the staff responsible for collecting and compiling the documentation to create the OMR and the timeline to do so. The second step is who will develop the OMR and when will they have it developed by. Step 3 is an overview of how to develop and what to keep in mind when developing the OMR. Step 4 is the all-important double-check system. In this step, you are naming the position that will double-check the OMR, the time frame they have to do so, and the who and what if there is an error that needs correcting. And finally, step 5 is what you use your OMR numbers for and when, and it ties it all back to the claim procedure. Included in the OMR procedure template is what to do if your center experiences a substantial change to the free, reduced price, above scale ratios during the fiscal year and would like to request an OMR revision in CMP Web. ODE-CMP does not have a definition for substantial change, but the change does need to impact meal reimbursement a considerable amount. In order to determine what your new reimbursement could be, please use the CACFP Reimbursement Estimate Calculator, which can be found on our Becoming a CACFP Sponsor webpage. Sponsors are not required to request a revision if changes occur, but the option to do so is available. This part of the procedure names the position responsible for monitoring the need for a revision, the parameter that must be met to request a revision, and how that staff person will proceed. As the OMR is an Excel document, this should be saved and stored electronically. The OMR has formulas in it that will only work if it is completed electronically. Additionally, ODE-CMP reviewers will ask for the OMR to be submitted to them electronically for review. As a friendly reminder, all records must be maintained for 3 years plus the current year. These records must be made available to ODE-CMP upon request. If any of these documents cannot be located during a review, it can result in substantial fiscal action and review findings. Admin reviews can run very smoothly if documentation is maintained and readily available. Finally, we have the procedure backups. This will identify who will do which steps if the staff person originally assigned to the task is unavailable. Remember, procedures are a guide for staff to follow to ensure programmatic requirements are met and ensuring compliance in the CACFP for your organization. True or false? Sponsors can request an OMR revision anytime during the fiscal year if there is substantial change in free, reduced price, and above scale ratios. The answer is true. Sponsors can request an OMR revision anytime during the fiscal year if there is substantial change in free, reduced price, and above scale ratios. ODE-CMP recommends sponsors use the CACFP Reimbursement Estimate Calculator before requesting an OMR revision to determine if the change in reimbursement is substantial. To review, in this training we have discussed how to create a written procedure for developing a 1-month enrollment roster. ODE supports equity and excellence for every learner. This institution is an equal opportunity provider. Thank you for taking this training.